On this week's show, the Georgia Southern Eagles softball team and baseball team continue to roll right along. We'll have some highlights from the baseball diamond and have some updates from softball. All that and more as we welcome you inside the Eagles Nest. And welcome inside the Eagles Nest. I'm your host, Josh Aubrey, being joined by Mike Anthony, sports editor and Georgia Southern beat writer for the Statesboro Herald. And Mike, the Georgia Southern baseball team continues to roll right along right now, but I guess you could say they've done it against maybe not the elite teams in the league. They've done it against some teams maybe towards the cellar, maybe in the middle, but they're taking care of business. They're winning series this weekend. They knocked off App 2 out of 3. Sweep would have been nice, but still 2 out of 3 keeps you in third place in the Sun Belt standings. They had a midweek game with Savannah State as well before they do take a big step up in competition, hitting the road for Coastal Carolina. Your thoughts on where the Eagles are right now and how they played this past weekend?
Well, you can say what you want about not getting a sweep or not beating the best teams out there, but the fact of the matter is that in conference play, a win against App State, a win against UL Monroe, it counts the same as a win against Louisiana Lafayette, or like they might be able to do this weekend, to win against defending national champion Coastal Carolina. So to get 2 out of 3, I'd say it's good enough. If you take 2 out of 3 every weekend, you're going to end up with a good record. You're going to be where you want to be in the conference tournament. And speaking of conference tournament, it's all going to come down to seeding, to division standings. Right now, the Eagles still in that third spot where they've been for about the last month. A chance to move up. Actually, they're tied for second right now after Coastal Carolina swept South Alabama last weekend. Now the Eagles going to Conway. They have a chance to, if they win the series, get up into that second spot, depending on what South Alabama does. Maybe even get a tie or inch into first place. But first things first, they've got to take care of business. And to do that, it usually means pitching. That's what we saw against App State. A rough one on Saturday, a few home runs hit for the Mountaineers.
Friday.
I'm sorry, on
the second game, but yes.
Yes, Friday because of the Easter weekend. So Friday, App State plays long ball, something they don't usually do. And Saturday, another home run puts App State out in front early, but the Eagles pitching staff comes in and gets it done, especially out of the bullpen. Landon Hughes, usually a shutdown closer, he bridges the gap in the middle of the game, and then the rest of the bullpen gets it done, something that's really becoming a strong suit.
Right now, it seems like the pitching has been pretty solid, and like you mentioned, if they seem to struggle early, they know they can go to the bullpen and bring in 3, 4, 5 arms to help them get through the rest of the game, which is a great situation to be in, especially when the tournament comes up, because we know how good pitching depth is. You've also got Ryan Cleveland swinging the bat like we thought Ryan Cleveland would. McWhorter has been playing pretty well, and then you've got Jacob Green, the son of former Eagle legend Todd Green, really coming on strong as well.
Yeah, he's really been put in a tough spot. The Eagle catching position, it's taken its lumps. Jacob Green started the year third on the depth chart. He's been pressed into pretty much everyday duties here the last couple of weeks, but he's responded. A couple of big home runs in big spots with the Eagles trailing, getting them a punch in the arm, a little bit of momentum, then more importantly, calling a good game for those aforementioned pitchers. And that's what it comes down to when you get to the tournament. It's going to be a sprint to the finish. The Eagles' pitching depth could really help there, having to play multiple games in over a 3, 4, 5 day span. We saw it last year. The depth really helped. Hopefully that's what they're building up to in the last month here.
All right, well, let's go out and take a look at some of the highlights from this past few days. We have Appalachian State and then Savannah State from Wednesday. Georgia Southern and App State, Game 3 Sunday, and Stephen Curry, the nice grab at second. The Mountaineers able to start the scoring, though. Connor Leonard up, and away to center. The 2-run shot, and it's 2-0 Appalachian State. Still in the second. The squeeze bunt will get the runner home from third. And the Mountaineer lead is extended to 3-0. The Eagles would respond, though. Ryan Cleveland takes this pitch deep the other way. This one gone for the solo shot, cutting the lead to 3-1. Later on, it's Jacob Green. He comes through with the fly ball to right. This one would be dropped. Tyler Martin comes in to score. The lead trimmed to 3-2. The Mountaineers back to extend their lead in the third. Connor Leonard with the RBI double to right center. Ryan Balk scores to make it 4-2. But Landon Hughes shuts down the Mountaineer bats in relief. 3 2/3 innings of no-hit ball. He'd strike out 4. Offensively, the Eagles come back. Tyler Martin, the single into left. Next, trouble on the slow roller here by Mason McWhorter. Everybody's safe. And then it's Eagle legend Todd Green's son, Jacob Green, back at it. The 2-run single into left. That ties the game at 4-all. Mitchell Golden next up punches this one into left. Logan Baldwin will hustle in to score from second. The Eagles with a 5-4 lead. Tyler Martin then with a little insurance. Up and away to left. The solo shot would make it 6-4 Georgia Southern. Later, take a look at this play right here. Bullet down the right field line. A nice play. Ryan Cleveland throws to Hughes for out number 3. Georgia Southern's Ryan Frederick, Connor Simmons, and Seth Schumann then combine for 3 innings of 1 hit, ball, and strikeout 7 as the Eagles win 6-4. Georgia Southern with a rare trip to Savannah, taking on Savannah State Wednesday evening. The Eagles out to the early lead. Logan Baldwin comes through with the double to left center. Evan McDonald and Mason McWhorter will both come in to score to make it 2-0. Eagles on top. Still in the second, Jordan Wren hit by the pitch with the bases loaded. That will force home Baldwin to make it 3-0. Tyler Martin will then draw a walk. Stephen Curry comes home to make it 4-0. On the mound, it's Seth Schumann, fresh off the football practice field, but not missing a beat. The inning-ending strikeout. He'd go 5 innings, allowing 1 run, striking out 3. The Eagles end up winning this one in extra innings, 6-5.
Hey, Miss Thompson, everything's fine. It's going to be no problem. I'll have you done in a few minutes.
My name is Tazy Nordhoff, part owner of Complete Car Care, and I want you to come see me.
All right, Mike, they have a big series coming up this weekend on the road in Conway, South Carolina, taking on the defending national champs, Coastal Carolina, who I think we thought would probably be the top team in the league and head and shoulders possibly over a lot of other teams. Not really the case. They are tied record-wise with Lafayette. They're winning their division, Lafayette or Louisiana. On the other side, the same records. They both are 10-4-1, I believe, right now. Not a lot of separation. And I'd say unless somebody gets really hot, and then somebody else maybe wins the tournament, there's a chance the Sun Belt that we thought could send 3, maybe 4 teams may only send 1.
Well, there's a few series left for all these teams who are maybe near the top but not quite as dominant as we thought they would be. Still a few more series left for them to separate themselves. And when you look at the overall records, those kind of line up for what you think of when you think of at-large bids. A lot of teams are going to get close to that 40 mark. It's not a guarantee that you get in with 40 wins, but in a conference like the Sun Belt that tends to have a pretty high RPI, a very good chance you'll get in with 40 wins there, as opposed to years past in the SoCon where you needed to do that to even have a chance to be considered. So I think you'll see maybe Louisiana catches a little bit of fire. Maybe Coastal Carolina gets things turned around, hopefully not this weekend. But you look at Georgia Southern, and overall record-wise, they're in second place right now in the division standings, but they have as good of an overall record as anybody. Right now, it's all about quality wins. I think that's what's keeping the conference down right now. Not as many big upsets as we saw last season. Not as many opportunities with 3-game series against ranked teams for teams to do damage. But I think that in the end, the cream will rise to the top, and it's just a matter of where exactly those teams fall in the tournament.
There's a lot of these teams like Lafayette, or Louisiana rather, and Coastal have lost a lot of one-run games to some ranked and some pretty impressive opponents like LSU. They lost 3-2. North Carolina, they lost by a run in that game. So it's a loss, but if you could win one or two of those, and it looks like somebody's going to have to win 10 or 12 to get to that 40-win mark with maybe 3 or 4 series left. I guess it's definitely possible, and I think Coastal Carolina, you mentioned during the break, the fact that they are the national champs, if they're kind of on the
Tends to carry a
borderline,
little weight with it.
that's right, they'll probably get the invite if they don't end up winning the tournament. And again, let's hope they don't catch fire until after the Georgia Southern series at least. All right, well, speaking of a team that's caught a little fire, the Georgia Southern softball team have swept the last 2 opponents that they've played in the Sun Belt. Coastal Carolina was a huge sweep at home 2 weeks ago. This past weekend, they went on the road to App. We know App's not very good, but they took care of business sweeping them. And now Southern making a run. Dixie Rayleigh starting to pick it up on the mound. Camp on the mound also has been pretty solid there. And then their hitting is getting hot as well, and they've hit some home runs. Got the reigning player of the week in the league. So things are going pretty well for softball as they get ready to host Texas State this weekend.
Yeah, the Eagles spun their wheels a little bit there at the beginning of the season. Didn't quite have the start they wanted, but now you mentioned 2 sweeps in a row. You look at the standings, and a couple of weeks ago they were down there near the bottom, starting to sweat a little bit. Now up to 4th in the conference, and really right now you have to say that with the exception of Louisiana Lafayette up there in first, as most figured they'd be, the Eagles control their destiny because out of their last 3 remaining series in Sun Belt play, 2 of them are against 2 of the teams that are ahead of them. One being this week against Texas State. They'll end the regular season in a few weeks on the road at Georgia State, another team that's up there. So if they can put a couple of wins up on the board in each of those series, take care of business against the South Alabama team that's good but a little bit below Georgia Southern right now, you could be looking at a 2 or a 3 seed going into the tournament.
Yep. All right, so there are games going on this weekend. Georgia Southern hosting Texas State. Go out to Eagle Field and support the Eagles if you get an opportunity. One final note, this Georgia Southern golf teams, the women were playing this week, struggling quite a bit. It looks like their season is going to come to a close. As for the guys, they get underway this weekend in Destin, and the tennis gets underway for the postseason coming up this weekend as well. All right, well, that'll wrap things up for now. For Mike Anthony, I'm Josh Aubrey. Thanks for joining us. Hope to see you again next week.